What is on top of the deck? What is on top of the deck? Oh, it's Lightning Helix! Oh my god! Oh my god!
Welcome to Hunt the Week.
Hello everyone and welcome into the show. Welcome in each and every one of you planeswalkers out there. Who's ready to do some planeswalking with me? I know I am. I'm excited. I want to see the dice get rolled. I know we're not rolling planner dice, but I want to see the realms change and see all the different planes that we go on together, and we're going to planeswalk, each and every one of us. And if you've been following the weather forecast, it's a little sunny right now, but there is a chance of snow in the future. Yes, that's a spoiler for the first plane we'll be going to. Chance of snow. Ooh, what could that mean? I am your host with the most, your Goku or Go Home, your Don John DeMarco. I am a one-time rookie of the league. We're talking Strixhaven. One time won a league. We're talking Chaos 2. And one time I made the Mega Draft for Player of the Year. Yes, those are my accolades. And I can't wait to hear yours out there. All you crazy, crazy planeswalkers getting ready for Planechase League. And boy, do we have a big show this week. We got a really, really big show. We got 2 interviews. Winner of Brothers War coming on. Creator of Planechase League coming on. So we got to get through everything pretty quick because this is going to be very long. Very, very long episode. So join me as we planeswalk.
Let's planeswalk.
All right. This is Goku's tried and true tips for a week 1 league. And I'll tell you, I said in the Mega Draft, stick to 2 colors and I only play 2 colors. I know what I'm talking about. And what happens? A 4-color deck wins. I also said in Brothers War, I'll play 2 colors. Play 2 colors the whole time. Guess what? The ending was just full of 3 and 4 color decks. So please take what I say with a grain of salt. These are my opinions. They are what they are. A lot of people that do well do not listen to me, and that is great for them. So do what you want. But these are my tips that I like to follow in a week 1 league. Week 1, rule 1, you've probably guessed this by now, play 2 colors. I don't like playing 3 colors in week 1. Sometimes you kind of have to. But I'd rather play some stinkers in 2 colors than play like really great cards in 3, but with a really bad mana base, because I will beat myself with a bad mana base, right? Unless I've got at least 3 pieces of fixing and like a bomb rare that I want in a 3rd color, I'm playing 2. I am playing 2 colors, and that's it. That's all I'm going to do. Rule 2, aggro's really good in the first week, like 1 to 3 weeks. Aggro decks work really well. People aren't having decks just packed with removal, and their curve isn't super low. So if you can get a nice aggressive deck going in like week 1 or week 2, that can kind of carry you with a less powerful deck. And while you wait for people to kind of catch up, and then you can catch up to them once you start losing and opening packs. But aggro, first few weeks, ain't nothing wrong with it. And last but not least, play your games early, man. Play your games early and often, as they say. This is Kaldheim, so we get some Snowlands. Here, let's go over what we got, actually. These are the opening sets. Pools have not been rolled yet. I was trying to wait to record till pools got rolled, but I don't know. I don't know when it's going to happen, so I'm just recording. Sorry. Our opening sets. Now, everyone gets these same 6 sets, okay? That's part of the fun. Dominaria. AKR, so that's Amonkhet Remastered. Dominaria United, M20, Zendikar Rising, and M21. Only 1 set from the last 2 years, when sets have been very strong and very broken. So we're kind of looking forward to a lower power level league right now. You know, this ain't going to be Bro War with your extra artifact and your mythic slot or whatever. This is good old-fashioned Magic, man. We got 2 core sets in here. 2 core sets, 2 Dominaria sets, and a remaster set, and then Zendikar, which is just Zendikar. Flip lands. Get them, love them, have them. But yeah, compared to the last few leagues, this is going to be a low power level. This is going to be good old-fashioned Magic. Turn card sideways, hold your counter spells, try to get a 2-for-1 when they put an enchantment on their creature, and you got that kill spell. And our plane for Planechase League is Kaldheim. There was a chance of snow, and guess what? It is coming. Everyone starts with 5 snow basics. So you can play snow cards and cards you open in Kaldheim. So that's cool. So this is going to be Kaldheim week. All punishment packs are from Kaldheim. And we got Snowlands out of the gate. So you can build the Snowland deck of your dreams. And I'm probably going to be avoiding snow if I can. I just want to open that, what is it, Blessing of the Old Gods? Was that what it was? The 2 green black, kill something, put a forest down. Oh, card's so good. Such a good saga. Please open me like 2 of those. Whoever's doing my punishment packs, if I lose, of course, give me like 2 of those. 1 foil and 1 regular would be wonderful. And I hope you're excited. I'm excited for Planeschase. I'm so excited, actually, that I have a stipulation game exactly at 5 o'clock on Friday. Now, this is with the one, the only Cody Race. Cody loves to gamble and bet, and I'm not one to turn away from a challenge. So Cody challenged me to a game. He made fun of me on his server. I said, "You don't make fun of me in front of my friends, Cody." He said, "Oh, yeah? Yes, I do. Put your money where your mouth is." And I said, "All right, man, let's play." So 5 o'clock on the dot. First game of the league, hopefully. Me and Cody are going to be streaming. We're going to be playing. And loser will be publicly ridiculed or humiliated on the server in some way. So I can't wait to see what that happens. I'm going to probably have Cody read a statement saying how wonderful I am and play it on the podcast all the time. I hope he makes me do something fun if he wins. And spoiler, there's a good chance he wins. I have a pretty bad record against Cody. And Cody's Cody, man. He does good. He does good. He plays good Magic, and not someone I was really hoping to play right out of the gate. But hey, you challenge me, and I do not back down, my friend. So I'm looking forward to my first game against Cody and the rest of the games I have against all you wonderful Planeswalkers out there. But for now, we got to bring some people on, man. We have to, one last time, unearth some things.
Looks like it's time for us to unearth a couple things.
Yes, that's right. This is the last time we're going to be unearthing, and I unearthed with Daniel G., Frisky Hobbit. The winner of Brothers War League came on the show. I talked to him all about Brothers War and a very little bit about Planechase at the end, and we're going to go ahead and listen to that interview now. All right, everyone, join me as we unearth some things for the last time with your Bro League winner, Daniel G. Thank you for coming on the show, Daniel.
Thanks for having me. Pleasure to be here.
Hey, congratulations. Big winner, mega draft winner. How does it feel?
Woo, yeah, it feels good. It was really exciting. I really don't think my deck ended up in a sweet spot for the draft, but it ran pretty hot and got the right cards when I needed them, and enough to get there by 1 point in game 3 of the finals.
That's all it takes, is getting lucky at the right time. First you got to make the top 8, which is like you got to get lucky enough just to make the top 8, right? Then you got to have a decent enough draft, and then you got to get lucky while you play it, and you did it all the way along the way. Congratulations.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you faced Cris P in the finals. We'll get to that in a little bit, but I know you guys had a battle, a dragged out battle for that ending.
Yeah, it was really tight. I mean, game 3, I finished at 1 life. He had a number of draws to try and get, and a number of ways to get direct damage with his deck, but couldn't find it.
Oof. Disappointing. Cris P, I'm sure you're out there, and hey, some people run hot and some people don't, and this wasn't your chance to run hot. It was Daniel's. And Daniel, I got to know, when did you start playing Magic?
I first started in the original Theros block.
It was after the Ravnica block, right?
It was Theros. I don't even remember the rest of the name of that set. It was Theros.
Oh yeah, it's forgetful. It really it's Born of the Gods.
2013. Yeah, it was right around Born of the Gods. 2013.
Born of the Gods, something else.
So almost exactly 10 years.
Wow.
I guess it was just called Theros.
Theros. And did you like Theros? Do you look back on Theros fondly?
Yeah, I think it was a good introduction. I actually opened the set that had all the gods.
Yeah.
And I opened I opened a god pack right when I was starting to play Magic, and was this is amazing. My addiction is fully set in now.
I remember how cool it was when they did that, and I'd see them open at drafts and stuff every now and then. They'd be like, "Oh man, it's so cool! God pack, they're doing it."
Yeah. Although I basically, my whole Magic career, I've only played limited. So I think I sold all of them, and then when Commander became popular, all of them spiked in prices. But it was still unbelievable.
The limited player's plight. Yeah, you have to sell your cards to fund more drafts.
Exactly.
But eventually, you look at the price of some of those cards, and you're like, "Why did I sell that for nothing?"
Yeah, it's definitely easier to see when you had a failed sell rather than a successful sell.
Oh yeah. Don't look at the Great Henge's price, because oh boy, you're gonna feel bad if you drafted that set a lot and sold those.
Yeah.
Well, so you're a limited player. Theros, that's a great set. Had the bestow mechanic, put an
Mm-hmm.
enchantment creature on a thing. It was super fun. It was a really fun
Mm-hmm.
draft format. Born of the Gods, not as fun, but Theros itself was great. Had that great Elspeth card. I've talked about
Yep.
it on the show before.
Yep. A lot of good heroic. I think white was pretty
Yeah,
busted because of triplicate spirits.
blue white heroic. I played that deck a little bit in like what little standard I've played. I played a little
Oh
blue white
yeah.
heroic. That was a fun deck.
Yeah, that's when like Monastery Mentor first came out.
Yeah, that was a good time. 10 years ago, you say? Oh, that makes me feel old. But hey, we play Magic. We love it. It passes the time quickly. And I
Yep.
feel like Bro went by quickly, right? Bro went by in a flash. We're done with Bro. We've got our winner. How was your 6 week portion of Bro? How did that go for you?
It was really fun. I really enjoyed it. I loved the new mechanic they added where the punishment packs you got a choice.
Oh, it's so good.
Uh, I also loved that it splashed in some old sets. I thought that was really cool. I had like in my deck for a while, I ended up getting three Strixhaven packs. So I
Oh,
actually had a little bit of the like lesson learn mechanic.
wow. Three Strixhaven packs. That's pretty
Yeah.
busted, actually.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it worked out. So I really liked that mechanic. Uh there were a lot of bombs, but I thought there were fairly high number of ways to deal with the bombs. Good counter magic, good removal.
We got a lot of
Uh,
answers. What colors did you play during the 6 week? Did you have like were you one of the play it all, play splash a bunch, or were you like a honed in, soldiers, or are you black green? What were you doing?
yeah, so I started out as blue black or blue white. The
Okay.
whole time through the league, my best rares were blue. Um, and pretty early on, I opened the temporal anchor,
Oh,
which is that
nice.
like blue draw three a turn,
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah, that card's insane.
Yeah, very insane. My white was like pretty solid, but all commons and uncommons. So as I opened more power, white sort of got pushed out.
Sure.
And I actually ended up going. I went from like a more streamlined blue black or blue white mid range control to like four color control.
Nice.
I got pretty good lands that let me splash various removal spells. Uh, and yeah, I think the like bro artifacts, I had like 4 2-drop artifacts that really helped me
Oh,
have
nice.
consistency
Yeah.
if I stumbled on colors at all.
Yeah, because you're playing four colors, you got to have your colorless cards to kind of fill that gap. If
Yeah,
if and when you stumble, and you're going to stumble a little bit sometimes.
yeah. And some of those 2-drops were very good. It was the Scrapyard Mutt and the like Ashnod, the 3-1 that when it
The
attacks, it exiles something from a graveyard.
Scrapyard Nut was surprisingly good this format, wasn't it? I never even opened one, but every time I saw one, I was like, that card's like the best, one of the best cards in the set. This thing's amazing.
Right. I mean, when you have a colorless 2-drop that worst case scenario late in the game is essentially a draw two, discard two is
Yeah,
still fantastic.
yeah, and if it trades off at the same time, like you're ecstatic, right? So much
Yeah.
value.
Yeah, that card is great. Yeah, and it was really fun. I sort of like to do multicolor shenanigans, so being able to having my rares work out where I could do 4-color good stuff is the dream for me.
You are in your zone and in your sweet spot, right? That helps because I feel I've always said if you're playing a deck or an archetype you like to play, you're just going to do better because you're kind of doing your thing, right?
It's true. Yeah, I think I definitely started to play better because I had so much fun in that play experience.
It's all about having fun, and you made it through the 6 weeks unscathed. You make it to the mega draft, and we got to talk about this mega draft. How did you feel going in? Did you do any studying, any practicing, and how did it go?
Yeah, I sort of did. It was interesting. I did a couple of the like simulations on the same site that was used,
Sure.
and uh I noticed that my like take was sort of that white, black, and red were pretty good. Um, I specifically liked So black, I noticed that like the 2-drop 2/1 that whenever you sack a permanent, it gets a +1
Oh
+1
yeah, sure.
counter. I forget what that guy is called, but
Yeah.
with all the like SNC lands that immediately sacrifice, and there were
Oh
some other
yeah.
sets that had some like really easy free sacrifice. I was like, oh, this thing went way up in my pick order.
Yeah.
But then pack one, I just wasn't getting any black. I took a overwhelming remorse, I think pick two, and then didn't see much black the rest of the pack. So I sort of like waffled around. I actually saw two of that Azorius soldier commander or that soldier lord come around, and I passed both of them thinking I don't know if there's a lot of soldiers in the rest of these
Yeah,
sets.
yeah. You probably weren't looking for that, right?
Probably not. And I sort of wish I'd taken them in retrospect because there were some. Um, but I ended up sort of moving into blue white. In one of the later packs, I opened Shigeki, Jukai
Oh,
Visionary.
yeah, Neo.
Yeah, and Neo, that's right. And I was like, okay, Shigeki's amazing. And
Yeah.
I had speculated on some land, so it seemed doable. So then I was pretty much a Bant deck, uh, splashing black for Overwhelming Remorse that I got early and Quasar, Augur of Agonies, which
Oh
ended
yeah.
up being really important in my deck.
I think it's so funny that we've never had a four-color deck win till the last mega draft, and now we're like back-to-back four-color decks. It's like, what is this the meta now? Do you just play four colors? Is that what you're supposed to do?
Yeah, I mean, I did think when you're drafting six packs, you're getting an overabundance of playables. So
Sure. Yeah.
being able to take lands is really it's sort of free.
And
And
take lands you did. You took a surprising amount of lands when I looked at your deck. I was like, because I saw the colors, I was like, wow, look at all this. And I was like, oh, look at all these lands. Like
yeah,
you were sick with lands.
yeah, I got 12 lands, and I think the one that ended up being best for me is I got a pretty late Argoth Sanctum of Nature passed to me,
Uh-huh.
which is that green land that like pairs with Titania,
Oh
but
yeah.
it also just spits out a bunch of tutus. And I won a few games by just stabilizing and then making a tutu every turn and eventually winning with flyers or going wide.
Yeah, lands that do things. I remember back when we used to have Strixhaven in there, just getting those Strixhaven lands that could scry like once a
Yeah.
turn. They went a long way. Imagine lands making tutus every turn. Yeah, that's some pretty dang good value there coming off your lands.
Yeah, it was a little funny because pack two I opened Valiant Veteran, which is another soldier lord in the next set. And then I was really lamenting having passed the two Azorius soldier lords in the previous
Oh,
pack.
it's so funny because you end up blue white anyway, and it's like, oh, and then I opened all the other soldiers anyway because
I know, yeah.
you
I
really don't think
definitely could have
about
used
it.
them.
But yeah, soldiers is it's like +1 +1 counters. It's like you're gonna find soldier stuff in like probably most sets, even at least a little bit. I feel like
Yeah, although I did look later on and it definitely dried up. I think
that.
uh it became more important to have like citizens. So I think a lot of the like
Oh yeah.
humans were citizens instead of soldiers, and it definitely didn't carry through all six packs.
Well, you had a great mega draft. You piloted the draft well, right? You get this four-color deck, and you make it through the rounds one, two, three. You go to that last round against Cris P, and you close it out with one life left after what was at least in like an hour and a half long match you two had. It was a epic battle.
Yeah, it was definitely a fight. I mean, his deck was a pretty streamlined black red deck. It made me really scared because some of my removal was enchantment based and he had ways to sack and get value.
Oh yeah.
Uh, we actually, I think my biggest punt during that match was that I attacked into one of his creatures that I had sky tethered, which is the 1 mana enchantment that makes a creature lose flying, and it gains defender.
Oh yeah.
And I attacked with a ground creature, not just thinking it was more of like a
You yeah,
pacifism.
it's pacify. Can't tech, can't block. White removal, right?
Yep. And I think luckily Cris also maybe I attacked so confidently he didn't catch it. and I got through, but that
Oh.
was a hard one to remember. And then later on, I even tried to set up lethal. Also, I let um attackers get through, also thinking I had lethal, and then also remembering that Sky Tether still is not passivism.
This is not the worst where you make a misplay once and then you make the same misplay again.
Yeah, that one hurts. Luckily, I like at least caught myself before attacking into it again,
Oh yeah, that would have felt bad.
but it did extend the game.
Mm.
And then yeah, that last game, I mean, I think I got pretty lucky. He had a good aggressive curve, got me low. At the end, he had that like devil that every time it switches moonlight to sunlight, it pings you for one,
Oh yeah, I know what you mean.
and he had, I mean, game two, he annihilated me with two thermal alchemists that I
Yeah,
just
little tap
really
tap.
couldn't stop. I mean, it was so fast that he killed me that game. And then game three was I stalled just enough, and I flashed in um a Zephyr Sentinel to prevent his devil from switching to daylight and to give me the extra blocker so that I could
Wow.
go to exactly one. And he had like three draws because I think he sacked something to draw a card and then drew for turn, and or maybe only two draws. And he got a haster in, but I was at three life and he got a haster in, but it was a two powered haster.
Oh man.
And it was a looter too. So that's how he got the third draw. So a two power haster, the like burning tree vandal that
Uh,
discard a card,
when
draw
you
a card,
attack. Yeah.
and got me to one. But
Man, what a
one
game.
is not zero.
What a way to win. One is not zero, right? These Magic games, you stabilized, you played to your outs, you played well, and you get a championship for it, right? You get a crown, you get some credit, you get some clout, and now everyone looks at you as uh, a scary person. You're a scary person in the league now. You're a league winner. Everyone's gonna look at you and go, that guy won a league. I can't play that guy. It's too good.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if I can defend it with uh a decent showing in the next one. I'm really excited for the plane
Oh,
chase
I'm super
mechanic.
excited for Planechase. We're gonna get to that here in a second, but a couple more quick questions before we get to Planechase. One, do you have any idea what your emote's gonna be? Your emote on the server? Have you thought about it?
Yeah, it was so funny. My friend Jake Coleman messaged me. He's like, "Now you get an emote," and I'm like, "Oh, what are you talking about?"
Yeah, you
And
get an
I
emote.
didn't realize I got to create an emote, and then I went through and looked at some of the former winners emotes. So I still have to think about it. Uh, I'd love to make it like Lord of the Rings related to fit
Oh,
in
cool.
with my Frisky Hobbit username. I was thinking maybe like a second breakfast emote, but I don't know. I'm gonna think
Ooh,
about it.
I like that. I like a Lord of the Rings themed because you do. You got a Hobbit profile picture. You got the Frisky Hobbit gamer tag. I like it. That's Lord of the Rings action to it. It's wonderful.
Yeah, maybe even just the one ring to rule them all.
Yeah, just a ring. I mean, people we'd use it. Believe me.
That's right.
We'll find a place for it, especially with that Lord of the Rings set coming out at some point. I think it'll get used like crazy.
I didn't even know there's a Lord of the Rings set
Oh
coming
yeah,
out.
they're making a Lord of the Rings straight to modern set or something. It's like
Whoa,
yeah, it's like an actual like standard, not standard legal, but it's like eternal legal Lord of the Rings. It's taking like the modern Horizon booster spot, I
oh my,
think. Oh god, I get my information wrong all the time. Don't quote me on
oh
anything.
my God, that
You
is
know,
so exciting.
they are making they're making like a straight up like it's gonna have Frodo, it's gonna have the ring, it's gonna have it's gonna be great, and they're all gonna be
Incredible.
broken. Oh my god, can you imagine what the ring is gonna be? Oh, it's gonna be so nuts.
That's incredible.
But Daniel, before we talk planes chase and get out of here, I gotta know, what is your greatest Magic accomplishment?
Other than this might
Hey,
be it, but I think my greatest magic accomplishment is I cashed a GP.
nice.
Yeah, I it was it was a GP. I think it was, man, I can't even remember the set. I think it was M21.
Ooh, okay. You're talking my language. I love a core set.
Yeah, it was a core set, and I opened this pool that had basically no playable rares. It had, other than like some lands, but no real rares. But it had so much synergy and a bunch of really good of the like flyer cantrippers, and got to 8-1 on day one, and then didn't good enough day two. I was never really in contention of top eighting day two. I think I did like 1-2 in the first draft,
Sure.
but good enough to get top 50, which got me some money, which
That's
was really exciting.
amazing. That's so
Yeah,
cool.
it was really fun. I was there with my cousin. It was a blast.
Dude, I used to really love GPs, and I hope they come back. I don't know if they will.
Me too.
They're
I think
so
it's
fun.
such a fun way to play Magic with all your friends, and you get to check in between rounds. There's just this like massive amount of Magic energy in the air.
Yeah,
It's
and
really
everyone.
cool.
You always go with a group, and it's like you got your commander players, they go play commander. You got a couple friends playing in the main event. You got a couple people doing drafts all day. You got someone there to meet the artist, and it's just like everyone goes off and does their thing and then meets back up. Oh, it's so much fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Well, we are done with Brothers War League, but we are getting ready for Planechase League, and they just announced today, as I record on Wednesday, that we're going to be going to Kaldheim. How does that make you feel, Daniel?
It just warms my soul. I especially the first like mechanic that we get 5 basic snowlands of each type. I could not be more excited for that introduction.
You were telling
Uh
me a little off the air that you're a big Snowland and a big Kaldheim fan.
yeah, I mean, I think specifically in draft, I love having to navigate when to choose lands. And I
Mhm.
think as a player who likes to play as many colors as possible, I tend to value lands higher than most. So I often will end up in these snow decks that are running a bunch of snowlands, um and so having that as a viable option right from the get-go is such a blessing.
Yeah, it's gonna be so fun. I can't
Yeah.
wait. I can't wait for Planechase League, and they announced all the different packs we're getting, and I was like, oh yeah, okay, that one sounds great. I'm like, oh yeah, that one sounds great too. They all sound great. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm real excited for Planechase League and coming off Bro League, which had a wonderful mechanic of the pick a pack. I love that we're going something so different, which is just going to be like crazy nonsense every single week, and everyone's along for the ride. I want to see some of the weird things come out.
Yeah, I love too that I think it's a great idea to like mix it up every week and really test deck building, because 6 weeks in it can feel a little stale. You're like, okay, I open a punishment pack. Maybe there's like 1 or 2 cards that I can slot in and switch
Yeah.
something out. But potentially having to like reconfigure your deck entirely
Yeah.
every week is pretty cool.
It can also be a little boring just to play the same deck for 6 weeks. I mean, 6 weeks is a long time.
It's true. I mean,
And
in
like,
Bro, I had a deck that I loved playing with, but if I had just like a Boros aggro deck that is really not my jam,
yeah,
I I would have struggled, I think.
yeah, and like it's fun that they're planes that are gonna make us maybe play Brawl again. A plane that's maybe gonna make
Yeah.
us go down to 40 cards instead of 60. And how different would
Yeah.
that be? Like, just so exciting, all the different kinds of things they have planned for this league. I can't wait. I can't wait to see the pools. I want them to roll the pools. Roll the pools, Chris.
Yeah, when is that coming?
They
Friday?
they said Thursday or Friday they have to do some updates to the bot, I think.
Yeah.
But I'm sure the bot lab's going to get a lot of use before then as people start making their own pools.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited, and Daniel, I'm excited for you to be a first-time winner. Mega Draft champion, Brothers War. Congratulations again, and thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you, John. It's a pleasure. I'm really impressed with the quality of your shows.
Oh,
And
hey,
thanks for doing that.
thanks. I got microphones, I got computers, I just hit buttons and things work. It works.
It
What can I
works. I'll
say?
tell you that.
Hey, everyone's got a good internet connection and a decent enough microphone to sound good too. So everyone's doing great.
Nice.
Well, thanks so much for coming on, and good luck in Planechase, man. I know that I'm gonna be watching how you do, and I'm gonna be probably avoiding you because you're a league winner now and you're very good.
Well, we'll see. I'll have to defend it to really earn my spot, but I'll be looking out for you, John. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man.
been a
I'll see you
pleasure.
on there. Good luck out there.
All right, you too.
All right. Bye. Daniel was super cool, super nice, really smart guy, and we basically started playing Magic around the same time, which I thought was really cool. But it did make me feel like, man, I've been playing Magic for 10 years now, like competitively. It's a while. It's a while. I'm getting old, ladies and gentlemen. I am getting old. I am your host with the most, your Goku or Go Home, your old man. And I'm no Jeremy though. Jeremy, that you're still the grandpa with your onion belt. I will never take that crown from you, nor would I want to. But that's not all. That's not the only guest this week. I also had on Cris York. Cris York is the designer and creator of Planeschase League, and I love having Cris on. He comes on, he talks about history of the league's past, he tells a good story, and he's a great person to talk to, and he gets me a lot of information about Planeschase and some of the planes out there. I hadn't really looked at the rules much before I talked to Cris, so I thought this was a really nice place to start if maybe you're in the same boat and haven't been paying too much attention to what's been going on in Planeschase. Me and Cris break it down for you. So please join me as we roll the planner dice.
A game for those who seek to find a way to leave their worlds behind. You roll the dice to move your token. Doubles get another turn. The first player to reach the end wins. 6.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's roll the planner dice. It's maybe pending on that one. I'm not sure about that one yet. With Cris York. Thanks for coming on the show, Cris.
Thanks, John. Pleasure to be back after a long hiatus.
Hey,
I finally did okay in a league, and so you invited me back. It's nice.
you earned your place back officially now. The most times on as a guest. You're a third-time guest, third timer.
It's an honor. It's an honor. I'll take it.
Hey, well, I appreciate you coming on, and I thank you. As here we are wrapping up Brothers War League. We just had the mega draft, hours ago. We just finished watching it together, and I want to know, Cris, I want to get your opinion. How was it? How was it for you? How do you think the community liked it, and the mechanic? How was Brothers War?
Well, John, I think the pick a pack mechanic, which is Caleb's suggestion, from my position, it was a great success, right? It took a bit of the sting out of opening bad packs. It made it added a strategic layer that wasn't there before to the tournament series, and Sawyer's bot work implemented it very well. I thought after maybe like a day of stumbles at the gate, but after that everything was pretty smooth. But of course, I've heard players. I've heard the players. The players will be heard. And I have heard them, and the consensus seems to be that the pick-a-pack mechanic would be better off in leagues that weren't so juiced. And so with its archive or its inventions or whatever, Bro would sometimes have 2 rares in a pack, and if you're choosing between 2 packs, it means you got 4 rares to select from, so you can really customize your deck nicely. So the ramp, how your deck ramps in terms of its power, it accelerates. I don't know if it was quite the end of the world. It wasn't apocalyptic, but certainly people were making big plays pretty early on. Like week 3, already you could feel the difference in the room.
Yeah, there's some pretty crazy things going on in week 3. Even in week 2, I saw some decks. I was like, oh, already, it was a weird format.
It was, but I don't think for all of that it was all so bad, right? So a lot of people feel like you arrive at the end of a format and they have this feel bad, right? And I want to talk a little bit about this, right? So because it seems to me like we get so let's say used to being given puzzles by Wizards of the Coast, and we solve them. And then afterwards, there's this feeling of disappointment or letdown. But I feel like if you're doing a puzzle, it's a puzzle of something, right? So let's say that you don't know, you're working on a box of puzzle pieces. You don't have the picture on the front.
Sure.
And you complete the puzzle and you're like, it's a picture of a cat.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's maybe you're disappointed, right? But you knew it was a picture of something.
Not Richard. So, Richard's happy.
Yeah, Richard's happy, but it's either going to be like a high-powered or a low-powered format, right? You can be disappointed either way, but it's going to fall somewhere in that range. And so I feel like once people solve Bro, they had the sense like, oh, it's kind of crappy that it was so powerful and that, we had the pick back mechanic to make it even more powerful. But for me, it's all about the process, not the product, right? I feel like, did you have fun solving that format? Did you have fun putting the pieces together? For me, that's the more important thing than, where you arrive at. I think in retrospect, we can all see that Bro is juiced. But I enjoyed solving that puzzle. I enjoyed kind of, working in those parameters.
You don't know if it's going to be a powerful format or not, though, when you're making the mechanics and when you're setting aside what things are going to be, though, right? Like, so it's hard to say, like, yeah, if you guys would have picked a less powerful format, when it's like, oh man, it's like you did that on purpose, that's kind of like not really your fault.
Well, WotC does keep their cards literally pretty close to their chest prior to release, right? So like, you have a spoiler the week before, but we have to work in advance as well to get things ready for league play. So there's some parallel design processes going on. Sometimes we strike gold. Sometimes we hit a rich, steaming pile of fecal matter. But that's just a matter. That's a bit of luck. And I think that over time we get better. I think at making good tournament experiences for people. And I hope that people will forgive us some of our sins when it comes to,
I think it only gets better and better. The bots get better. I think this mechanic, like I've said it 1,000 times, I think it's a home run. Can't wait for it to come back. Like, loved it. It was great. Like, the format was super strong, but mechanic was super great. I love it. So good. Great job, Caleb. I mean, so good. I love it.
Yeah, agreed.
Chris York, I love having you come on the show because I get to hear one of your stories about something from the league's past, Chris. And I want one of those right now. I'd love a past Sealed Arena Gauntlet League story from Chris York.
All right, John. I've heard your request. I will grant you this one story.
Thank you.
This is
Lord hold that bean.
This one is called King Making in Ixalan.
Okay.
So this harkens back to the paper era at face-to-face games in Montreal. And so let's sort of set the stage a bit, right? Since 2014, I've been doing formal leagues with partner store affiliations. And before that, it was more sporadic and less formalized. And the history of league hadn't really solidified until then. Now, between all those paper leagues and all those online leagues since then, in those consecutive years, those 9 consecutive years, I've worked with and around in the high hundreds or low thousands of players, right?
Sure.
Not all of them love me, and they don't need to.
Oh, what, you, Chris? Come on.
No, I'm serious, John. No, I'm serious. But it's okay. For me, this is like, the reason I bump this format as much as I do is because I think the gameplay that it offers is better than any other format. That's where I'm at. It doesn't need to be a friend generating machine. Got friends in other realms. Don't need necessarily befriend everyone.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't expect them to. And I would think that, right, for Commander or something, there's probably a number of people who probably just hate Sheldon Meanery and think that he's an arse. And I think that's absolutely fine for the format. Anyway, enough of that. But today I'm going to tell you about the reason why we have the following rules on our rule set: the no intentional concessions rule and the Wheaton's Law rule, which is don't be a dick.
Okay,
they mostly come from my sparring with this one player who joined the league, and he noticed that our rule set had a number of holes in it, and he was bound and determined to exploit as many holes in that rule set as he could.
Okay.
So he was a very good Magic player, had a good head on his shoulders in terms of the game. Let's just say he was not necessarily very community minded or ethical. And so he got so far ahead in the tournament that he had extra wins that he could use to give to other people that he deemed worthy, so they would enter the finals. He got so far ahead, his appearance in the top 8 was guaranteed.
We're talking Cody and Neo League, someone who's just really far ahead.
Exactly. Before the rules were in place to stop such a character.
Sure.
So, and he said, look, there's no rules on the books about not giving away losses. And so I'm going to give away my losses. And then auction style, he set up a sort of, how can I say it? He solicited bribes from the player base. He said, if you did this for me, then I'll give you a win. And then if anybody can do anything better, they'll get that win, and so on and so forth. He set this elaborate system of bribes. And, you know, as a sort of nascent format, we were powerless to stop this monster. And so I tried to shame him a little bit. I said, look, we don't have the rules to stop you from doing this, but it certainly isn't in the spirit of the event. He did not like that. He did not like being chastened by me.
Sure.
And maybe there was some personality stuff going on there as well in the mix. And, you know, that's fine too.
Sure.
So then he kind of got his hair up on his back a little bit. And he said, look, I'm just going to make sure that this guy doesn't make the finals. This guy being me. Being you. So I was sweating my ass off trying to get into the Ixalan finals. He waited with his extra wins until he knew who would have to beat me or have to have more points than me to make the finals. And he strategically gifted each of those extra wins to my closest competitors and put me in 9th place for Ixalan League. And it was probably, like, in terms of like feel bad missing top 8s, I think this is the roughest beats story. And I get asked to tell it a couple times, you know, so I figured put it on tape, put it on record. You know, let them replay this story, and they'll know why we worry about things like king making when we design league rules, because we do not want this kind of Wild West scenario to recur.
Usually getting 9th place, always feels bad anyway, but it's like, it's nothing personal. But in that situation,
it's intensely personal.
Yeah, it's like, hey man, I want you to get 9th place. I want you to feel that pain, and like, how brutal. What kind of stuff was he bribed with? Are we talking money or like well?
I think prize packs. The idea. Yeah, exactly. So like, you don't know how you're gonna do in the finals, no matter how many wins ahead you are. So I think he was doing things like, give me a pack, I'll give you a win, that kind of stuff.
Oh, okay, nice.
And so then if he turns around and wins the mega draft regardless, right, he gets all the prizes that are associated with that, and he gets all the prizes from 2nd, 3rd place, 4th place, whatever. So pretty like, let's say morally gray, if I'm being generous.
Yeah. And that's why we don't have concessions, everybody.
That's why we don't.
But then enough about the past, Chris York. I want to know about our future.
Oh
I am super excited for Planeschase League, and I know that is something you've been working on for a long, long time. I've been seeing the posts forever. Excitement, drawing and bubbling as it comes closer, and we're almost here. We're almost ready.
Yeah. I mean, registration closes in 2 days on January the 4th. So we're just getting our last few. I mean, I assume there'll be like a spate of last minute entries, as there usually are.
Thousands of people storming the doors.
At least tens of tens. Yeah, exactly. So that's coming out very soon, and I guess I'm going to give you the sort of rundown of how many times I've tried to use this idea and have it not work.
Yeah, I don't know, learn all about this thing. I'm excited.
So Planeschase for me, right, it's a flavor home run. It captures the idea of being a planeswalker, of sort of getting into peril, and when you lose a match, you're bounced into another dimension, and with its own rules. And to me, like, the product fails. It's sort of like it's either too chaotic or too, like, it's too messed up. But the idea is so fantastic. And I think, like, if we could do something more with that, it's a bit like adding a map mechanic, right, to the league in a way. And sort of traveling together through the planes is kind of an experience which sounds like it might be compelling story-wise, right? And a lot of the complaints that we have about Chaos Leagues is like, well, I can't control where my packs are coming from, and who knows, maybe my opponents open from broken sets and I have opened from not broken sets, and that's not fair.
Sure.
And so the current Planechase rules that we come up with, I think, help mitigate those kinds of worries. So the effects are sort of spread out across 21 different planes, and they incorporate among them all the different sets that are available on Historic on Arena, except for the alchemy stuff.
Wonderful.
Those aren't. Yeah. And we take out of those 21 planes, 6 for your starting pool. So we kind of like burn 6 cards, and those are your starting pool sets that you get to start the league with. Everybody gets the same 6 sets, but they're chaotically determined, right?
Sure.
So after those planes are removed from the pack and the opening sets are determined, then play starts. And from weeks 1 through 6, there'll be 1 plane every week that is turned face up, and we have to take punishment packs from the set that is written on that card and play under the conditions that those cards have written on them, which might change things like, again, what punishment pack you get, what the format you're playing in is, and tons of other kinds of niche effects. So I guess the best thing for me to do to kind of illustrate this would be to talk about specific planes. Have you seen any of the planes?
Well, of course, I have seen a few of them, yeah, as you've been going through and showing them for a while. None that I can name specifically, but I've seen them, so I know kind of what you're talking about. But yeah, I'd love to hear a couple specific planes so we can all kind of, get used to what's going to be happening. Because so every week it's not necessarily one specific plane we get cards from, because some planes could give you packs from more than just one plane, right? Or is it every week one specific pack?
So that's part of the spice, is that some of the planes give you 2 packs instead of 1. Since we're talking about Ixalan, let's go back there. So Rivals of Ixalan was never meant to be a kind of standalone set. So when you go to Ixalan, we have a plane called Orazca, the Golden City. And if you would open a punishment pack, it says in the plane, instead open 1 pack of Ixalan and 1 pack of Rivals of Ixalan.
Awesome.
And then because, Orazca kind of has this flavor of keeping out planeswalkers and whatnot, the stipulation for your deck building that week is league decks must contain no legendary cards. So we're going to post the plane, for instance, if it was Orazca, in the announcement thread. Everyone's going to know about it. We're going to be really, let's say, assiduous in reminding people about the stipulations for the week. The bots are going to handle the rest, so take some of the cognitive load out of it. And we're going to get the experience of sort of bouncing from plane to plane for 6 weeks.
How far?
I can read you another one if you want, if you're interested in a certain set.
How far in advance are we going to know before with the plane switch?
Excellent question. 2 days.
2 days.
So we're going to roll the new plane on Wednesdays, and then we'll be entering the new week of play on Friday. So you have a chance to sort of see what's coming and to maybe spitball some new deck builds.
Ooh, I love it. That's great. I think that's fantastic. Yeah, I'd love to hear another. Is there a Strixhaven?
Yes, there is. It is called the Biblioplex. And when you planeswalk to the Biblioplex, which is on the plane of Arcavios, so we did some lore research. The plane's not called Strixhaven, it's called Arcavios.
Nice.
And when you planeswalk to the Biblioplex, each player receives a reward pack containing the 4 colorless lesson cards. And all punishment packs for that week are from Strixhaven School of Mages. So in other words, it enables the learn lesson mechanic in a way that you might not be able to if you didn't have a sort of supporting structure. And it's the same with Kaldheim. For instance, we have a plane called the World Tree. The plane is Kaldheim. The card's called the World Tree. And when you planeswalk to the World Tree, you get a reward pack containing, I believe it's now gone up to 5 snow-covered copies of each basic land type. So you can play your snow cards. And during that week, all punishment packs are from Kaldheim. And so if you have any snow synergy cards, you can actually use them instead of having them be dead slots in your packs.
So you said that there are ones that change the format. Can you give me an example of one that changes the format? Because that's interesting.
Sure. There's one that is from Ikoria. It's called Sky Sail. And you can guess what it does. It's league decks have a minimum size of 80 cards. Sky Sail is where the companion comes from that makes your deck into 80 cards, and I'm struggling to think of the name.
Yorion.
Yorion. Thank you so much. And during that week, all punishment packs are from Ikoria, Lair of Behemoths, and we have these big unwieldy 80 card decks for
Oh, gross.
yeah, it's a little gross. You got to dig a little deeper to get your bombs that week. So tutoring obviously is going to be at a premium during Ikoria week. But yeah, sorry, go on.
No, go ahead.
I mean, there's other ones that make it smaller. So a lot of a sort of popular worry that people have coming into the Gauntlet League format is that, 60 card, 60 card limited. What's that about? How am I going to be able to build decks?
Sure.
We have one plane to satisfy those players as well, where we shrink the deck size to 40 cards. It's the card's called Carol Keep. The plane is Ragatha. And during that week, all punishment packs are from Core Set 2020.
Oh, I love a core set.
Me too.
I'd love to go to that. I love that plane. Shrink it down to 40. Oh,
so we're gonna have busted. So we're gonna have busted decks for that week, and all these kinds of ideas that we're sort of trying out, if you will, might be directions for future leagues. If people love a certain plane and love a certain rule set, we can learn very quickly how people feel about these. Players won't be shy, right?
Oh, so we're your beta testers now. That's what's going on.
We're here to test out leagues.
We've designed 21 unique leagues instead of just one, because we've had since I think it was Eldritch Moon where I tried to get the first set of Planeswalk cards to be used, and the general, I don't know what he was, Peter Sackless. I don't know if he's a general manager or something of that type, but he said, look, our players, they just won't take to that complexity, and they're a spiky crowd. It's too casual for them. So I was daunted at the moment, but I'm like, this idea's got legs. It just needs the right time, the right place, the right occasion to shine.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a fantastic experience for players. I think that digitally, right, we're restricted in the way that we weren't by paper cards. So I was a bit more ambitious with the paper set. Digital versions, we're restricted by what Arena will allow by its rules enforcement engine. And we're also limited by what we can regulate or officiate and what fits on a card, right? So these kinds of structures mean that the designs that we all approved, not incredibly ambitious or off-putting, right? We want people to have a good time. We want to have a set of ideas that people are excited to plow through, to the point where we kind of took the temperature of the room, and that's why we've previewed so many of these cards about the possibility of negative planes. And it seems people were generally just terrified about the idea of going to a plane where there are no punishment packs for a week.
Oh yeah.
Or where entropy losses were doubled, or anything like that had some sort of scary, edgy.
That is pretty scary. Double losses.
For me, like, I don't know, the possibility of spinning the wheel and ending up in somewhere, I figured like 1 in 20 at least, one of them should be real spooky, real bad. But in the end, I was outvoted, and we subtracted the negative plane.
I appreciate you wanting to have something really bad in there, because that does sound fun, but also I don't want to play in them whatever that's going to be. So I'm glad it didn't happen.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think at the time I said, look, some players, they appreciate the danger, the risk. It gets their blood going, and they don't want a choice between, like, well, this plane you get jelly beans, this plane you get cakes, and this plane you get ice cream, right? It's like just different flavors of good.
This plane is death. This plane is death and fire. That's what you get.
Yeah. But I wanted the plane rolling event on Wednesdays to be kind of dramatic, kind of like, you get your hands stuck in your chair a little bit, like, please no, please not this.
So how are you doing it? Do you have a big wheel that you're going to spin?
That's going to have them all on there?
It's just a random number generator in the end. I'm going to go online. I'm going to stream the random number generator so people know that, we're not doing this, in advance of the tournament starting. We haven't, as a league committee, we haven't picked our 6 favorite planes and we're designing our experience, right? We want to be as surprised as everybody else. And the reason for the 2-day lead is just so that we can make sure the bots are ready to handle the new rules. Yeah. As well as let the players know, give them a heads up about what's coming down the pipe.
I can't wait, because I love chaos, and this sounds like a real chaos with a twist. I'm here for it, Chris.
Organized chaos. It's organized chaos, right? And so here's the final thing about Planeschase, right? So I told you that we're burning 6 cards at the beginning to give us our starting pools.
Sure.
Six cards will be used to help us go from week 1 to 6. And then at the end for the Mega Draft Finals, we take 6 of the remaining 9 cards and they become the sets that we draft for the Mega Draft.
Oh, weird. So the sets you draft in the Mega Draft are going to be sets that you didn't really play with throughout the league.
That no one played with.
That is brutal. That sounds that's fun though. Go. Jeez, Chris. I like it. I like it.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be fun.
No, I think it's gonna be great. That's gonna be, and who knows? Yeah. I think you're gonna see a whole bunch of different sets though. So we're gonna see almost all of them except for 3 by the end. Although we're not
exactly.
No. So cool. Chris, I'm excited for Planechase. I'm ready for it. I'm signed up. We got to start
rule set and signed up. That's an act of good faith, which I appreciate. that's product trust, right? It's kind of like saying, you got this new flavor of our ice cream coming out, and you're like, I don't care. I'm putting my money down. I'm getting 2 gallons of that. I don't.
Yeah. And if it's bad, it's all right. I'll probably come back for next time. Well, I'm going to eat just enough to get my money back and come back. But, Chris, we got to start winding down as we do on the show. I thank you so much for coming on, and thank you for your stories. I can't wait for Planechase. I really am. Oh, I'm pumped. But Chris, I want to know, Chris York, what is your greatest Magic accomplishment? And that could be from a whole range of things. I'm excited to hear what you have to say.
Okay. Well, I came. There's a couple. I'll go through them quickly. So I realize I see the clock ticking.
The clock tick-tock.
So the first one was that I almost got to the Pro Tour. I
gotta hear it. I went
to the finals of a PTQ in Scotland, and I just borrowed my friend's deck, made a few alterations, and didn't know what I was doing. Got there in the morning. This was during like the original Kamigawa block. And I think I was drinking the night before, so I'm like sweating and shaking and the intense pressure of the competition. This is like 14 rounds in, and I'm just making mistakes left and right. The judge says, look, if you make any mistakes in the finals at all, we're going to DQ you. You're not going to do it. And so then the store owner's friend was the other guy in the finals. And the store owner is saying to me, look, you're in this situation. Either we're probably going to end up DQing you if you keep messing up as you're doing, or my friend here is going to generously offer you all the prizes. So you get the money for the trip to LA, and you get all these cards and whatever. You're safe. You got everything. He just wants the spot on the Pro Tour. And so at the end of the day, I played it safe. I took the cards. I took. Here's where the story gets interesting. I took what I thought was the money, or the promise of the money. Once Watsy gave it to the guy, and he got to go to LA and play in the Pro Tour. Now, the unlikable part of the story is that I spend the next 4 months basically cajoling, threatening, pursuing this guy for the money in Scotland, which is not my country of birth. So I won't go into all these twists and turns of that misadventure, but I got the money.
Hey, there you go. And some good cards, and a good story. Every story you tell, Chris York, is you're in a different country, and I love that. I've heard you tell stories about you being in Japan, you being in Scotland, you being in Canada. I want to say you being in like Dubai. Just like it's always somewhere different.
We got time for one more?
Yeah, of course. I'd love to hear one more.
Okay, so this is the one where I actually got to go somewhere. So I was in Dubai. I was playing in
of course. Of course, you're in Dubai from Scotland.
International Meta Mystery. Yeah. So I'm playing in Dubai in this store finals for Battlezone. They're trying to promote their store, so they're offering free tickets to this Pro Tour. Sorry, we had a thing called a Grand Prix at one time. Yes. What was happening in Moscow?
Ooh.
Okay, so I said, well, I got to try this out, and I got close to the top, but not close enough. And then one guy said, I'm not going to go to Russia. I'm not going to go to Moscow. So I'm dropping out of the event. And so it landed on my lap.
Pretty nice.
I'm all in. Yeah, I'm all in. And so at this point, I'm like, I'm going to Russia. And apparently the visas were a little complicated, but the store owner had some like in with some official in Russia. So we got these like backdoor passports, backdoor visas for our passports that were expedited. And we got to the tournament, and day one, tearing it up.
Yeah.
Top, Ole Rad did an article on my deck, said it's very original. We don't know where this is going to go. This is very exciting. And I'm like, yeah, all right. My team's with me. Like the three other guys that qualified from Dubai are with me. We have like matching shirts. We're just like we think we're the bee's knees, the cat's meow, the top of the top. Anyway, day two, I arrive at the tournament, and I sit there and I lose for what I think is around 10 matches in a row. And so like day one, there's all this hype. My team's like, you're gonna make it, now go. And like, they're carrying me in the air. And then day two, I just sit there and I get stabbed until my self-confidence is just a pile of mush. And it was really, really like after the highs of day one and the lows of day two, I slunk out of Moscow. Absolutely. Shameful performance. But I got the free trip, right? So I got the free trip from Dubai to Moscow and back. He paid for the hotel as well. So it was all very good, right? I felt like I was on the Pro Tour. I felt like I was on the gravy train.
These are two very similar stories that are both like, yeah, there's this thing, and then this thing happened, and then it all worked out. It was all still really good. Like I still got to go to Moscow, and I still got my money.
It's if Charlie Brown were a Magic player, right? Hard luck stories all around.
Oh. That's so cool though. From Dubai to Moscow, but to win a trip to play Magic, that's pretty nice accomplishment there, Chris. And I'd say I'm sure creating this whole big league, it's gonna be a pretty nice one too, to have a nice feather in your cap. A lot of people really appreciate what you've done here, Chris. I want you to know that everyone here, they all love this thing. This is all something wouldn't be here without you. So we all thank you for that, Chris.
Thanks, John. I appreciate it. I need to hear that sometime. I need the old.
Hey man,
it's good to hear the pat.
Yeah, I know. Being the face of something, you get all the good and you get all the bad of something. So it's like you see it all happen. You're like, there's a lot of bad, but it's like this thing is wonderful and great. And I know you put a lot of time and effort into it. And our clock's ticking down, or I'd probably go on a 10-minute rant or something. But I appreciate everything you do, and this league especially, I can't wait to see it because it's coming from you. So it's like, it's like Richard Garfield coming back to design a Magic set or something. Like, yeah, Chris York's got another league up his sleeve, and it's chaos with, some dice rolling. Oh, I can't wait to see what happens, man. I'm really excited.
That's very flattering. Thank you, John. And, it's always a pleasure coming on here.
Hey, thank you so much for coming on. I can't wait to see how you do. I'm sure I'll play you at some point. I always like my Chris York games when they happen. And if you're out there, yeah, you should play Chris York. It's always fun to play and chat with him. Chris loves a good chat and a good trash talk when he plays.
And how?
Well, Chris, I'll be sitting there. I'll be waiting to see the pools. And are you rolling the pools and the playing same time, same day when we all get started?
That's correct. Yep.
Oh.
So we'll know what we're getting into.
Oh, I can't wait. I'm excited, Chris. Thanks so much for coming on the show. I can't wait to see what we get here in Planechase, a sealed arena gauntlet league.
All right, John. Thanks a lot again.
No problem, Chris. Thanks for coming on. Man, 2 guests. What a big show. Sorry it's so long. I could have done 2 separate episodes. Decided it doesn't make sense just to put 2 episodes out at the exact same time. Just make it 1 episode. Make it easy on myself. If you made it through all this, wonderful. Congrats. You're an amazing person, and I think the world of you. Thank you so much for listening to the show. Thank you for being a part of this league. I'm excited for Planechase, and I hope that you are too. I want to say one last thing before we get started and before we get going, and that is welcome back, Jesse R. I love Jesse R. I'm a huge fan of Jesse R. So happy Jesse R is back, even if for 1 league. Welcome back, man. So happy to have you. And Kyle, I know you're not listening and you're probably not around anymore, but come back, man. We miss you, Kyle. You're a wonderful person, and it's not the same. Not the same without you, Kyle. Come on back, man. That's going to do it for the show this week. I hope everyone has a great pool, great starting cards. I hope you open some busted mythics, and I hope you're ready to play in some snow, because I know that I am, and there's going to be a lot of weird tribal stuff going on, and who's going to open that Tavar? I don't know. He's not very good, but he's there. You can open him, so maybe you do. All right, everyone. Until next time, until next week when we're back to regular shows with only one interview, I hope that you get to keep a good 7 and that shuffler is in your favor because, man, that thing has been too broke for too long. I'll see everybody here next week. Bye, everybody.
You noticed it was Daniel and Christopher,
Oh,
not Dan and Chris, that made it.
Yeah,
In the finals of Dan's and Chris's, it was the ones who took the time to spell out their full names
That's what made the difference. We all know
that
it.
got the first and second place. So I think you should refer to yourself as Jonathan. I should be Christopher.
Oh my God, everyone has to do it.
The longer the name wins.